Hey everyone, welcome to part 30 of my fists only, no armor, no ranged weapons and no deaths playthrough of Demon Souls. Following on from the end of part 29, I'm currently doing a run of pure white world tendency events, and here I'm making my way to where I thought Scurva the Wanderer was, and boy oh boy was that a rash move right there. I thought this was the way to go, but I did not mean to go off the edge right there. I was just lucky that I landed on planks. I mean, I knew that was the way to go. The reason I remembered this is I came this way and fought Scurva the Wanderer as a Black Phantom when he was a Black Phantom to get the Talisman of Beasts, which is an item that allows you to cast miracles and spells and increases your magic power. But yeah. I should have been way more careful there, kind of like I'm being careful here. This is a kind of a worrying area to come in a no death playthrough. A simple misstep and you can fall to your death, so I had to be very careful here. I did skip one item above me. I wasn't really sure how to get to it and I thought I'd have to waste an archstone on that one item, so yeah, I skipped the item that's directly above. But this is perhaps the most worrying item. Oh man, even just watching this after the fact. There was no margin for error here. Any mistake and I would have fallen to my death and ended my run. But my plan was to complete as much as I could in this run, and getting those items was included in that plan. So this is Scurva the Wanderer, and he wants to look at the Dragon Bone Smasher, which I have in my inventory. I don't have it on now while I'm speaking to him. I wasn't sure if I had to have it on when you speak to him the first time, but I assumed you shouldn't have it on. So I speak to him the first time, then I equip the Dragon Bone Smasher, then I speak to him again.
Oh, wonderful. The arts of swordsmanship applied in a perfectly useless manner. Look at that. Please take this as a small show of thanks. Take care of this one.
So he's definitely a weirdo, but he gives you a pure greystone if you show him the Dragon Bone Smasher during pure white world tendency. He also only appears in body form here in pure white world tendency, and if you kill him here, he'll drop the Ronin's ring. But I'm not killing him because my goal with this playthrough was also to end the entire playthrough with all worlds still in pure white world tendency, even after completing all of the events. I'm not doing any black world tendency stuff in this playthrough because it is a no death playthrough. If you're willing to die though and turn the world black, then he appears as a Black Phantom and you can kill him for the Talisman of Beasts, but yeah, that won't be happening. I never did that in this playthrough. So I used an archstone there to go back to the Nexus. Okay, next cab off the rank in my Pure White World Tendency event list was to go see Selene Vinland. For that, I needed to increase my faith to 10. So I'd been saving my souls specifically for that. The reason you need faith of 10 is her quest is for you to find her brother Garl Vinland. And when you find Garl and obviously kill him, he drops the crest, the crest of Vinland. And you have to give that to his sister Selene. In return, she'll give you the Ring of Devout Prayer, but she'll only give that to you if you have enough faith to wear it. If you don't have faith of 10, she won't give you the ring. She'll just give you some crappy grass, and the whole quest is basically pretty worthless. So yeah, I knew that. I knew I needed to have enough faith, and I already had the crest because I'd already killed Garl Vinland. I hadn't actually started the quest yet, but that didn't matter. All I had to do was go and find her in the Swamp of Sorrow to speak to her, to start the quest, and then just speak to her again to continue the quest and get the Ring of Devout Prayer. So to be clear, Selene only appears in body form during Pure White World Tendency. She does appear as a Black Phantom in Pure Black World Tendency, and if you kill her, you get her weapon, which is a sword called Blind. I don't really know much about that sword. I've never used it, so yeah. But you get her sword. I don't kill her though. I wanted to keep all of my worlds at Pure White World Tendency, but had I been willing to kill her, I would have got her gold armor, the dull gold armor set. And yeah, I think you also get the Ring of Devout Prayer from her if you kill her as well. But in this playthrough, I'm getting the Ring of Devout Prayer from her as a reward. So the thing is, all of these Pure White World Tendency events offer different things depending on what you do during them. But for this playthrough, because I wanted to have Pure White World Tendency in all the worlds, even once I'd completed the entire playthrough, it was utterly important that I don't kill any of these NPCs that have appeared during Pure White World Tendency. I had to make sure that even the ones that wanted to fight me, that I didn't fight them, that I escaped them. So yeah, my whole plan through all of this was to do as much as I could without causing any harm and without ruining my tendency. If you're wondering why I wanted to have Pure White World Tendency at the end of the game, the answer is I had completed my first playthrough and not every world was Pure White World Tendency when I did. So I wanted to see if every world was Pure White World Tendency, what would happen at the end. Basically, was there going to be something special that happened, or would I get access to something else? Or I didn't know. I didn't expect that there was something different at the end, but I wanted to see. And the other reason is I wanted it to be a bit of a weird challenge, because I knew some of the NPCs that you have to engage with during Pure White World Tendency get aggressive and you have to fight them. But what I didn't know when I was running this was whether or not fighting them would then push my tendency down. Since my goal was to have Pure White World Tendency in every world at the end of the game, I had to make sure that if any NPC wanted to fight me, that I didn't engage them, I didn't fight them, and didn't kill them. I mean, basically I had to err on the side of caution, because I really didn't know if engaging in combat with any of the NPCs that wanted to fight would affect my world tendency. So yeah, I had to make sure that I didn't engage them, and that was my challenge. The challenge I'd set for myself right from the start was that I was going to somehow complete some of these tendency events and somehow escape the NPCs that wanted to fight me. Selene Vinland is not one of those NPCs though. With her, you just have to give her the Crest of Vinland and receive the Ring of Devout Prayer in return if you have Faith of 10. But before that, you got to deal with some of these bugs if they've tracked you over to her, and unfortunately, they're so hard to deal with fists only. Plus, I had to also make sure I could kill this bug without accidentally hitting her, because I didn't want to trigger her into fight mode and ruin everything. So just had to deal with this damn bug. Ooh, and that swipe came extremely close to her too.
Why? You are one of the sane ones, are you not? I seek my brother, Garl Vinland. The night, I believe, they settled here. If you happen to see my young, I must share with him the last word.
So I had to talk to her to start the quest, and then talk to her again to complete the quest.
That crest. A Vinland heirloom meant for my younger brother. So, my brother and Astraea have both strayed from the path of God, the poor souls. Perhaps their hearts were too pure, Umbasa. Oh, traveling warrior, I hesitate to ask, but can you part with that crest? Garl has strayed from the path of righteousness, but I wish to have the heirloom in honor of our Vinland blood. I shall reward you in kind. Thank you, kind warrior. As Garl's sister, I express my deepest thanks for your honoring of his name. Please accept this as thanks. Perhaps you will have use for it, as he now does not. May you receive God's blessing, Umbasa.
Alright, that was the second Pure White World Tendency event I'd completed in a row, and now it was time for a third. The third one was to head back to the Valley of Defilement. In one of my earlier parts, I'd pointed out a rock face where a ladder is meant to appear during Pure White World Tendency there, and now it was time to make my way up that ladder and find out what item was at the top of it, because I couldn't remember. I had done it in my first playthrough, but I couldn't remember what that was, or what I was going to encounter at the top of that ladder at all, to be honest. I just knew I had to climb it. I just knew it would be there.
We are indebted to you for you fight on our behalf.
I was actually surprised to see these items here. I must have missed them in my first run through. I couldn't remember, but it was either that or they appeared because the world was now in Pure White World Tendency and there were items that just weren't there before. I don't know. I still don't know, but I guess I probably just missed them somehow. In fact, I guess there's probably a ton of items I've missed. I know there's a few that I've deliberately chosen to miss, that they were just too dangerous in a no-death play run like this, but there'll also be some items that I have no idea that I've missed, that I just didn't know where to go, or didn't see them, or ran past them, or just, had no idea they existed. That's almost a given. This is only my second playthrough, so that is, that's a given, really. Anyway, what I'm doing here is I'm backtracking my way to where that ladder should be. I know where the ladder is meant to be. I know it's like a carved out bit of rock face on a ledge, but I hadn't backtracked to it this way before, so I was moving rather cautiously, since obviously I didn't want to fall to my death, but also because I wasn't 100% sure how to navigate backwards this way, but I thought going this way would be faster than trying to run to the ladder from the very start of the level. And that was a moment of major panic. I had to get out of there very quickly and heal up. I thought I'd just be able to run through to the ladder. I didn't realize I was going to have to engage enemies. So yeah, I got into trouble there because I tried to run past them all. And that there was another moment of panic because I kind of fell off the back of the ledge unexpectedly, and for an instant I wasn't sure if there was going to be any ground under me when I fell off. So yeah, this was all a scary moment for me. I had actually intended this to be a nice clean run through to an item at the top of the ladder and hadn't realized I was going to have to fight any enemies at all. The irony is, I only came to do this particular Pure White World Tendency event early like this because I thought it was going to be an easy run to an item. I didn't think there was going to be any danger at all. Alright, here's the ladder. As I said, I knew there was a prize at the top of this, but I kind of got a shock when that happened. I thought this ladder led to an item. I didn't realize it led to more scaffolding and more platforming. My memory was very shaky on this particular event. And with all the unexpected fighting I was doing at this point, I was starting to wonder, was there like a black phantom that I'd forgotten about ahead of me? Was this actually a really dangerous event that I wasn't prepared for? Yeah, I was really starting to wonder. I thought there was an item at the top of the ladder, and now I was starting to wonder, yeah, maybe there's a fight coming up, or I don't know, maybe I've completely misremembered this and I'm about to die. I don't know. And so I was pretty relieved to see that was the item. I could tell that was the item because it was glowing so much bigger than a normal item. And all I had to deal with was a couple of enemies. Nothing special. It was just a little bit more action than I'd been anticipating, but here I was, and it was all looking like I just had to deal with a couple of annoying giant trolls or whatever they're called. And that was it. And it was the Istarel spear. The Istarel spear, if that's how you say it properly, it's a spear that actually increases your poison and plague resistance. And obviously you can only get it whilst the world is in pure white world tendency. But yeah, that was it. That's the item at the top of the ladder. Alright, that was the third event, and for the fourth, I wanted to take the magic sword Makoto to the Shrine of Storms. In pure white world tendency, Satsuki is an NPC that appears there, and he wants the sword. Now there's a few ways that this can go. If you're holding the sword when you see him, he'll attack you straight up to take the sword. If you're not holding it and he asks you to show it to him and you don't agree to show it to him, he'll attack you and try to take it from you. Or if you do show it to him, he'll ask you to give it to him, and if you do, then he'll attack you with it anyway. So for this to go well, I had to escape him when he attacked me. Now I couldn't go through that arch up ahead because there were skeletons everywhere up there and I would die trying to run past them. So I had to get to the archstone behind me and try to warp out of there. Problem was, I didn't know if once he attacked me if the archstone would be disabled, or if he'd be too fast for me to get to the archstone, or if he might kill me while I was at the archstone. I had no idea. Yeah, this was very nerve-wracking because I had to not die here, and I had to not attack him or fight back and kill him. I really had no idea how this was going to go. I was already nervous here, and when I give him the sword, I immediately run away so as not to engage in a fight, but apparently you can't do that. You have to stay near him while he goes through his dialogue. So the game forced me to stand right next to him, knowing that he was going to try to kill me and not be able to run away. So that just made me even more nervous right here.
Now, just... Yes, yes.
This is she. This luster, it's finally mine. But could this sword really be as deadly as they say? There is only one way to find out.
God, that scared the shit out of me. And running to this, not knowing how close he was behind me. And then there he is. But fortunately, I was protected by the nature of the fact that I was warping out of there. That was such a scary encounter. It doesn't look it to watch it back in this video, but it really, really was. When doing a no-death run and having no idea how that was going to go, yeah, that was nerve-wracking. But I survived, and that was the 4th Pure White World Tendency event completed, and now it was time for the 5th, which was to go to the Gates of Boletaria and face Executioner Merelda. Well, sort of. This one's a kind of a unique one because I wasn't allowing myself to kill any NPCs. It meant that I couldn't really do the Pure White World Tendency event here because it involves killing Executioner Merelda, and I didn't know if killing her would affect my World Tendency, so I chose here to face her but not kill her. And that was a good decision because after playing the game through in this run, I looked it up, and sure enough, killing her does affect World Tendency. It actually sends it right back to neutral, so that would have been a big mistake. So I made the right decision not to kill her. As a result of that decision, though, I had to do something else here. So my main objective became to face her and lure her away. Obviously, I had to kill all of these Black Phantoms first, but to face her and lure her away so that I could pick up all of the items that she's actually guarding. And that was all I really could do here. But that was the challenge, to pick up all of those items while she's still out here alive. Which honestly I thought was probably going to be a harder challenge than fighting her and killing her. Staying alive and picking up items while she's still trying to kill you. Yeah, I thought that wasn't going to be easy. Especially since I didn't know if hitting her would also affect tendency, so I had to not even hit her. I had to just lure her away and keep my distance from her. Enough so that I could get back into that room there and get the items that she was guarding, all without engaging her at all, just in case.
Show you no mercy.
There's one item on a beam here that I didn't even consider getting. I'd never got that without dying multiple times in my first playthrough. Yeah, there it is there. I just went past it. I wasn't going to try to get that. I almost certainly would die trying to get that. And at this point, that would be crushing. So that item had to be left behind. I also was hoping that she wasn't following me and that she wouldn't fall to her death. I mean, if she fell to her death, I don't think that would affect World Tendency, but I wasn't sure, so I really didn't want that to happen either. But I think because of the thief ring, she was delocked on me by this point, so I think that was always going to be fine. Alright, even though I didn't kill her, I considered that that was the 5th Pure White World Tendency challenge that I had completed, according to the challenges I'd set for myself in this playthrough, which meant it was time for the 6th. And the 6th was to go back to the Boletaria Palace, make my way to the top where you find that first Red-Eye Knight when you first start the game. He's guarding a door, and if you have the Mausoleum key, which you get from Ostrava, and I do have that key because Ostrava died at the inner ward and he dropped the key for me, which was nice of him. If he hadn't died, he would have given me the key later for completing his quest, but since I failed his quest, I picked it up off his corpse. That meant I had the key I needed to open the door next to that Red-Eyed Knight, and that leads into the Mausoleum. And in there you find old King Doran, and he says if you can impress him, he'll give you the Demon Brant sword. Basically, you have to fight him and take 25% of his health off, and then he'll give you the Demon Brant sword. You can keep fighting him after that and kill him. If you do that, you'll get the Ancient King set and the Eternal Warrior's ring, but obviously my playthrough is to maintain pure white world tendency, so I didn't want to do that because I believed that would lower my world tendency. And again, that's another thing I looked up after the fact and found out that yes, it would lower world tendency by 2. So yeah, definitely a good idea not to kill old King Doran if you don't want to lower your world tendency. Those guys just there were a real pain in the ass. Fortunately, at this stage of the game, they really couldn't hurt me, so they weren't a worry. But I was worried about old King Doran. He was very tough in my first playthrough, and I do recall him killing me a few times. But it was really thanks to having fought him a few times that I thought I had a decent handle on him. He doesn't have a lot of moves to think about. He just hits really hard. So I knew if I made mistakes, he could kill me. But I was hoping that because I knew him well enough, because he only had like 1 or 2 or 3 moves at most that I could think of, that I was going to be able to deal with him. Oh, look at my health. This guy almost killed me. I swear I took this guy way too casually, but I should have known he's wielding a spear, and every time I encountered spearmen, they always messed with me. Red Eye Knights are the worst, and this guy is probably the worst of all of them. It would have been crushing to have been killed by this guy, to not have even made it to Old King Doran, because I wasn't even considering this guy as an issue. Yeah, you can see that's my reaction to how I felt about all of that. Anyway, Mausoleum Key opens this door, and here's Old King Doran.
Seekest the king's sword. I am the old king. Show me thy strength and the power of thy souls. Prepare thy...
Yeah, so as you can see, he hits like a Mack truck, and one hit took nearly all of my health there. But he's a tank, so he takes a lot of damage, especially from weak-ass claws that aren't upgraded to max. Unfortunately, you don't have to completely take all of his health, just a portion of it, until he's satisfied that you're worthy to take the Demon Brant sword. Man, every time you heal, if you heal too close to him, you cop it.
Well fought to have embraced one such as me, young knight. I am old King Doran, and thou hast proven thy strength to me. Step forth. Well fought.
And because I didn't stand and listen to his dialogue, he wanted to go through it all again.
I am old King Doran, and thou hast proven thy strength to me. Step forth.
And that was it. That was the 6th event in a row, but I'd already done a number of other things that could only be done with pure White World Tendency prior to doing these 6. So as far as I'm aware, I completed all White World Tendency events in this playthrough, which is pretty cool. If I missed any, that's alright. I'll find out about that later and I'll maybe do them in another playthrough. But yeah, as far as I was concerned in this playthrough, I'd managed to do everything that I'd set out to challenge myself to do as far as pure White World Tendency goes, apart from having pure White World Tendency in every single world at the very end of the game. And so that's all I had left to do. I had to make my way to the Penetrator's Archstone, which takes you into the King's Tower. From there, there's a bunch of enemies, tough enemies to fight. I knew there were 3 Black Phantoms, named Black Phantoms too, which meant they were going to be tougher than the norm. And there were also a bunch of other tough enemies along the way, as well as a dragon to avoid. So I knew it was going to be quite challenging, the next step of this playthrough, but I was feeling pretty good about having completed what I considered to be a lot of the most challenging content already without having died. And I actually didn't think there was anything that could hit as hard as old King Doran, and the size of my vitality bar had tanked him, so I was pretty sure that nothing could really kill me from this point forward unless I really screwed up. So yeah, I was feeling pretty good about it, even though my nerves should have been firing on all cylinders, given that this is at least 10 hours of gameplay, I think, to get to this point, to complete all of this content along the way. But anyway, I was off to the King's Tower, and I'll show you all what happens there in the next part. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you there.